Moses supposes his toes are roses, but Moses supposes erroneously.
Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh. Hey! Welcome to the review.
What is this person?
I don't know. Welcome to the review, a show where two small town dudes give your big, dumb opinions. I'm Short of the Max Extreme.
I am a JT3K.
And this we're looking back to our review of Singin' in the Rain.
Yeah, we're using a flashback to start a new thing for the month of August.
That's right.
Where we're doing our AFI August.
That's right.
Where we're looking at the best films ever made according to the American Film Institute.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at their AFI Top 100 list from 2007. And we're looking at their top 5. And of course, we've already covered their fifth one.
That's right.
With Singin' in the Rain.
That's right.
So why not go back and look at it before we dive into the other 4?
That's right. It seems apt that we should do that.
It's quite apt. Quite apt.
That's like the only time I've ever used that word. And I felt proud of myself, and then I used it twice. I'm like, did I sound like that?
You sound smart as shit.
Good. I love it. So, I love this movie as a kid. Like,
yeah.
I probably bang on about it, like, during our actual review of it.
Yeah.
But, like, it's one of my mom's favorites, so it was always on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of things in this that, like, still hold up today to make it a great movie.
Hold up past what's made today.
Yes, for sure.
So much of this is just practical dancing
Mm-hmm.
that it's just like, Jesus Christ.
That, and I just think the story is a great story.
Yeah.
Regardless if the songs in it were good or not.
Yeah. It's like a story that's been ripped off a bunch, but because the dancing is so good and so, like, professional that it just surpasses everything that's tried to rip it off before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think there's even instances I bring up in the review where it's like, yeah, they tried to rip this off, and they failed miserably because Sing in the Rain is still much better.
Yes. Yeah, there's a reason that it made, like, a top 5 list.
Yeah.
And here it is. Like, I think, I can't remember if I said it in the show or not, though the time I watched it for the show was the first time in a while that I saw it all the way through. And God, I fell in love with the movie all over again. There's things that I just, like, you miss from watching it as, like, a kid all the time to, like, actually watching it as an adult and can appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Yeah. Even Sea Danger jumps in halfway through the review as well.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Sea Danger drop?
Sea Danger drop.
A CDD?
Ba-ba-ba!
Oh my god, a CDD.
A CDD. Sea Danger drop.
That's great. My god. This episode's got everything.
It's got
already.
everything. We talked about it for a while. I think this is like a pretty long review. When I went back and listened to it today, and it's one of our longer ones we did for just the review alone.
Yeah.
Because I think I even bring it up. There's a lot of facts about this too.
Oh, for sure. Well, I mean, that's what I love about, like, older reviews that we do as well, because it's, like, been out forever. We're not going to deal with any spoiler nonsense.
Yeah, and
it just,
there's
like,
so much dirt that's been dug up over the years that it's just the trivia tracks for it are just so fucking covered.
Yes, for sure. So, if you don't mind me saying, why don't you just enjoy the oncoming episode?
Exactly.
And join us for our the remaining 4 movies for the AFI Top 5,
which either will be done later this week, or we might just do for the next week just do a 4 and 3 for that week.
Yeah, why not?
We'll figure it out because
listen, I'm pretty busy.
The next week is going to be very up in the air whether or not we will have a show. So this might be the only show you get for this week. But we will get through all 5 of these movies before the end of the month.
You better believe it, bud.
God damn it.
If you're currently listening to this the day it drops, I'm having a kid today.
Yeah. His child is being born as we speak.
So cut me some fucking fucking slap, bud.
The kid is crowning as you listen to this. I'm just gonna say that.
Too much. Too much. So yeah, enjoy the show, and we'll see you on number 4.
Yeah. Either this week or next week.
Until then, enjoy Singing in the Rain.
Yeah, starting right now.
Well, that will jump us right in to our first stop to sing out the summer.
Singing out the summer, baby. Give me one of those special beers, Troy.
Which one do you want?
Which one are you more
The Tangy.
drawn to? You want the Tangy?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take the snake one. Okay. Give me that snake. Snake!
do, 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 do. Okay, yes. First stop is going to be Singin' in the Rain, debuting April 11th, 1952.
Wow.
I know. Budget of $2.5 million.
Jesus.
Domestically, made $1.82 million.
Yeah.
Internationally, not worldwide, it did go
Yeah.
to Canada and like maybe the UK. But it made its money back, and it's made $12.4 million
Jesus.
in 1952 money. So it sextupled its budget.
God.
Still, not the highest grossing movie of that year.
Oh my God.
I'll get into. I have more
Where does
stats
it,
on that.
do you
stuff.
see where it ranks in that year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have the whole chart.
Gotcha.
Rotten Tomatoes has it at a 100%. IMDb has that at an 8.3 out of 10. Movie Farm has it at 404, error not found. That's a little joke I did.
Good Lord.
Processed Grass has it at 2 out of 5 stars.
Whoa. What?
And
do they have a reason?
yes, I have the screenshot on what their reason is here. I'm going to read just their last paragraph.
Okay.
It's only 2 sentences. Don't
Okay.
worry. Now, is convention always bad? Certainly not. Plenty of films exist without subverting expectations or breaking genre convention. Even the art of the escapist film is one that I cannot bring myself to write off entirely, but in the case of Singin' in the Rain, the film does little worth noting to make it some grand escapist affair. Once one looks beyond the half-baked meta aspects of the film, Singin' in the Rain is hardly different from more openly trashed musicals like Grease or, dare I say it, High School Musical. 2 out of 5 stars.
So he's pretty much just he's critiquing the things that it's not like he's critiquing it for the things that it's not well known for.
Pretty much.
Like he's pretty much being like, "Oh, the story was shit." Or it's like this movie's not made for the fucking story.
Well, in 1952, I would say like this movie with its meta contextualism
Yeah.
would have been one of a kind back then.
Yeah.
Where now maybe it's not.
Yeah, like being meta is like kind of like a trend now.
Yeah.
And like I think back here it was kind of taboo to kind of like pull back the curtain and be like, this is how this shit works.
I mean, I'll go on with, but anyway, that's all I got. You can look up his review. It's on IMDb.
Yeah. Find out his
Processed.
Twitter, tell him to go fuck himself.
Go look up old tweets. He probably said something real racist. Just call him out. I don't know.
Jesus.
No, I don't do that. That's shitty. Anyway, Processed Grass is the reviewer
Yeah,
site.
I don't know what he's smoking. Smoking that processed grass.
So I looked up the best or the top grossing films in 1952 in the U.S. Singin' in the Rain comes in number 5.
Yeah.
Number 10 is Monkey Business. Number 9, Affair in Trinidad. Number 8, Hans Christian Andersen. Number 7, Moulin Rouge. Number 6, Sailor Beware. Singin' in the Rain.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Ivanhoe from MGM, making $6.258 million.
Ooh.
In
So these are the movies that came out in 1952.
52.
Okay.
That beat Singin' in the Rain now.
Yeah.
Number 3 is The Snows of Kilimanjaro from Fox with $6.7 million. Number 2, The Bad and the Beautiful from MGM. Also, that's where Singin' in the Rain is from, at $8.5 million. And number 1 would be The Greatest Show on Earth from Paramount at $14 million.
Jesus.
Those were the top 10 in 1952, which I have only heard of 3 of them.
Yeah.
So let's see how well they aged. Maybe they aged well, and Singin' in the Rain just happens to be the more popular one.
Maybe.
I don't know. This film did have some Oscar nominations.
Okay.
Didn't win, but it was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Hagen and Best Music. The supporting actress would have been the one who played the lead actress in the movie.
Yeah.
I can't.
Oh, the lead.
The one with the shrill voice.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Jean Hagen.
Yeah, Jean Hagen.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was... Yeah, because she stuck out just because that she played...
Yeah.
Like an antagonist.
Shrew.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then...
I can't stand it.
It won for Best Actor at the Golden Globes for Donald O'Connor, who is his...
plays... I gotta
funny guy in it.
Yeah. Make him laugh guy.
Yep. And then it was also nominated for Best Motion Picture for Comedy Musical, but it did not win that year.
Gotcha.
Other than that, we can just get into it, JT, with what happened in Singin' in the Rain. What's Singin' in the Rain all about?
Well, we follow a Gene Kelly's character who is named Don Lockwood.
Mm-hmm.
And him and God damn it. Yeah. Don Lockwood and Lena Lamont are known as like this big Hollywood couple that are in all these silent films together in 1929, I think it's called. I think it is.
Late 20s.
Yeah, late 20s. And they are on cloud 9 until the introduction of talking films comes out.
The Talkies.
The Talkies. And they realize that they are very ill-equipped for this kind of thing. And he decides to go ahead and make a musical film when he comes across a young woman played by Debbie Reynolds, Kathy Selden.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out just if old Don Lockwood is equipped enough to survive this change in trends, and maybe even if his co-star could survive the trend as well.
Oh my. Oh my. This film I've seen a lot as a kid, but all I ever remembered from it was the song Singin' in the Rain.
Yeah.
And Make 'em Laugh, because it had a really high action comical dance number to it.
Yeah.
Those are the only things I ever remember from Singin' in the Rain.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like 5 years ago where I caught the beginning again, and I'm like, that's what this movie is about? Because I had no recollection of what it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am way into that idea. And I didn't realize this movie was as funny as it was. This is all still 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I went through and rewatched it after catching some of it at my mom's house. And I was like, this is really good.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I had no idea what this movie was about. And it totally subverted all my expectations. And I sat down and I was like, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I know, like, this movie masters the art of sarcasm without being dirty so well. Like, especially, Donald O'Connor's Cosmo Brown. He has so many lines that are just, like, so good for the moment.
Right.
Like, I am, like, losing my shit every time he like, talks back to somebody.
Right. And if he doesn't have, like, a musical number, all of his lines are pretty much just one-liners.
Yeah.
But he had me cracking up every time he had a one-liner in this.
Exactly.
And, like, there's a few of them where like it was like near the end where it was Gene Kelly, O'Connor, and the movie producer were all in his office.
Yeah.
And he's like, something about like, give me a cigar. And he's like, here, have a cigar. And it's his own cigars.
Yeah. And then later when he does something that isn't like, hey, I gave you a cigar once.
So all that shit was really good. It's like, not only is Gene Kelly like go down in history as being like one of the best song and dance men in cinema, like I have seen him so much growing up in like other things that like when I did see La La Land, I was like disappointed.
Yeah.
Because nobody can live up to like how Gene Kelly and that kind of like that gang of people back then like could stack up to the competition.
I know it's so funny to watch this, like going back and watching this, because you see how there's so many films that have ripped this off and have not come close to how good it was when it was first executed.
Right.
And it's like almost sad where it's like, how far have we fallen where you can't match up to like this amazing talent that was back here.
Right. And like it doesn't make me look less upon like stars now, but stars back then, I mean, I'm not the first person to say it, were like singers and dancers and actors and actresses and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And they had to do it all. Yeah. And if they didn't, then they weren't huge. And if they did do it, they were in every movie.
I know. And now you're getting like today where it's like, do you look pretty? Well, then you're in a movie.
Pretty much, yeah. And so,
like if you're attractive, you're in a movie. But back here, you had to be attractive, you had to sing, you had to dance, you had to act.
Yeah.
You had to do all of it.
And by gauging by this movie, just singling out because we're reviewing it, you won the part. Debbie Reynolds won the part to play
Kathy Selden.
Yeah. And she was only 19.
Yeah.
And she had like very little dance experience. She was a gymnast. And I guess like Gene Kelly like broke her down so many times to get the choreography right that she would cry every day.
Oh yeah. Well, even Donald O'Connor, I guess he was in an interview where he said he just hated working with Gene Kelly.
I had no idea, but that's all I was seeing when I was looking up facts for this movie.
He was so militant about making sure that everything was on point. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things where like people in interviews have said that Gene Kelly was the worst to work with, but then like after it was all said and done, they talked about how fulfilling of an experience it was,
and they look at the performance and they're like, maybe it was worth it.
Yeah,
because, I did really good at that or whatever.
Yeah, they even interviewed Gene Kelly where he was like, yeah, Debbie Reynolds. Like, she didn't have the experience, but, like, she caught on way faster than I think anyone else would have. Mm-hmm. So, like, even he gives them credit, even back where it's like he probably would have just railed on him before. When looking back on it, he's like, yeah, they were good.
I have want to read some trivia just to show, like, how Gene Kelly was a slave driver.
If you get a chance, and if you're bored one day and you are familiar with Singin' in the Rain, go on IMDb's trivia and look. Like, it's the most interesting trivia that I've read for a movie so far on IMDb.
Yeah.
There's so many facts to this that it's just, it's so good.
Let me just give you a few snippets. The first one on here is Gene Kelly was a taskmaster with Debbie Reynolds, who had never danced to this degree before rehearsal started. Fred Astaire, who was in an adjacent dance studio, found her crying under a piano and reassured her that it was all of her hard work that was worth the effort. Mm-hmm. So, Jesus Christ. Debbie Reynolds also remarked that many years later that the making of this movie and surviving childbirth were the two hardest things she's ever done.
Yeah. Well, there's a fact that they bring up where during... Oh, shit, what was it? I think it's Good Morning.
It
was during Good Morning, they did actual tapping, and they did it so much that she burst blood vessels in her feet and had to be dragged off the stage. Mm-hmm. And then, because they couldn't do it, then Gene Kelly just dubbed in the tapping.
Right.
So it's like, so none of that was worth it.
But it also said later on there that it was common to do that at the time because sound mixing wasn't as great.
Yeah.
Or to pick up the sound or whatever. But yeah, I didn't know really that he was such a tyrant, I guess.
Yeah.
But
you look at this movie and you see how well it's made, and it's like, well, shit, do we have to do that for every... Like, 'cause it's like, it came out incredible.
Yeah. It also goes on to say, like, Donald O'Connor didn't really like Kelly all that much, even though on screen they have a pretty great chemistry together.
Oh, dude, I'm always a big fan of best friend characters in films. Like, I'm not a big fan of Lord of the Rings, but I always thought Samwise Gamgee is an amazing character. Because I love the idea of those characters where they're willing to step aside for a person they care about to succeed. And, like, Cosmo was totally that character in this. And I fucking... Like, every time he's on screen, I love him because he's just... You can see the small things that he does to, like, kind of, like... Either, like, kind of jab at Don or, like, get him to, like, do what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And he never tries to take credit for it. Even, like, he gives a fuck ton of ideas for Don Lockwood to, like, capitalize on to make him more successful. And he's like, well, good, I did my job. And then just steps back, and he's never like bitching that he's not getting credit.
Yeah.
He just plays the piano for him and lets him do everything.
Right. And he's, I mean, he's written into the movie as, like, his secondhand man.
Yeah.
But, like, I like in this movie, too, that everyone, all of the good guys, I guess.
Yeah.
Like Gene Kelly, O'Connor, and
Debbie Reynolds. They all contribute.
And they wine at the end. They, like, quote, defeat the evil one. Who is Gene Hagen in this. And, like, even though it was made in the 50s, I was actually surprised to see, or it was refreshing to see that they were standing up for Debbie Reynolds' character in the movie.
Yeah.
They're like, no, she's a great actress. Like, even though, like, Gene Kelly was coming on to her in the beginning and she's, like, the love interest. Yeah. She was still represented as, like, a talented person in this. Yeah. And maybe not necessarily as equal, because she never was involved in, like, really the making of anything, just kind of like the planning stages.
Yeah, I do really like what she does in this, but it still kind of suffers from that, like, that feeling where it's like, well, we still kind of have to make the men are the ones that do a lot of the shit.
But not as much as I would have first expected with her involvement in it.
Yeah.
Because she does, like, with O'Connor and Kelly, she does plan to salvage a film as a musical.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's her idea to turn into the Dueling Cavalier into a musical.
And she, with O'Connor, comes up with the fact that they can dub over what's the character's name's voice?
Lana something.
Dub over her shrill voice.
Yeah.
And so then she is a part of that.
Lena Lamont.
And so she's a part of all that kind of stuff. And even when they're on stage after the premiere, like, this is the only time where I'm like, why didn't they just have her planned into this when, like, the three guys got together?
Well, they couldn't really, because Lena was there the whole time.
But, like, I know, but they still pushed her on stage, and they planned it really quickly while Debbie Reynolds was still there. They could have been just like, hey, this is what we're going to do, just go behind the curtain. Instead of be like, you're going to get behind the curtain, and I'm putting my foot down because I'm a man, or whatever. And she's like, fuck you. Like, after I do this, I'm out of here, buddy. And I'm like,
don't
why
blame
didn't
her.
you just let her in?
Yeah.
Like, they had to be like a whole big surprise.
Even with them not saying anything, they just kind of had this, they shared this look where it's like, we know what we're doing.
Right.
Because they don't even talk to each other. Yeah, they don't even talk to each other, just kind of like singing along to Singing in the Rain, and they just kind of like walk around the fucking rope, and then they pull it down so they can show that Debbie Reynolds is the one that's been singing all along. But then it's like, so the men get it, but she doesn't.
Right. Yeah,
so it's like...
it was weird. But that would have been like the biggest, I would say the biggest red flag.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
I mean, there are like a few things here and there where I'm like I would have liked. It might have been like a really tough ask to do because it's like back in like this time where like, well, we have the man is the one that always does everything, but I'm like, I feel like the story would have made much more sense if like she's the one that they kind of turn to do that transition from silent films to talkies, because like she's the one with the theater experience.
Yeah.
And it's like, because they do this weird shit where in the beginning they're doing this whole thing where she's playing hard to get, and that's what kind of leads Gene Kelly on, where he's like, oh shit, you're not like falling over my every word.
Right.
And that's what kind of gets him interested in her. And then she just is like, well, I don't watch movies, I'm in theater and blah 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 blah. And then they kind of have this debate on what is better, movies or theater, and then they're just kind of like turned off from each other.
Right.
And then they have that whole scene where she pops out of the cake and he's like, oh, you're theater, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that I can totally see. Give me a soliloquy, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And like, but like she's doing that to like make money, because theater is not making any kind of money.
Right.
Because theater's a dying brand.
Mm-hmm.
So like they get to where he never sees her, and when they come back, when he finally sees her again, she's like all over him, or it's like, oh, I've seen all your movies, I've done all this, blah blah blah, where it's like, you could not give a fuck about him the first time you saw him. So it's like, so were you just playing him, or were you just fangirling and being like, well, I'll just act like I don't care about his movies, and then I'll move in when the time is right. Like, I would have liked it a lot more if it's like they get to like the silent movies, talkies are introduced, they figure out that they have no idea what they're doing, and then Debbie Reynolds moves in and is like, look, I have theater experience, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this, and then she's the one that allows them, like, they combine their knowledge to make an amazing musical movie.
Right.
And then that's what makes him fall for her, is that he kind of reignites that love for stage performance by doing movies, because he was on vaudeville for so long.
Right. Yeah, that would have definitely worked. But again, this movie was made 1952.
Yeah, this is made back when it's like the man knows everything. Listen, look, we're gonna do this movie.
2018.
Right, Chelsea?
Current, still.
But I think if they were to
How
like,
did I know he was gonna say all of that?
but if they were to make this nowadays, like, that's probably what this would be. Where
Right.
Debbie Reynolds' character would move in and be like, you're doing all this wrong.
You're an
this
idiot.
is how you do it.
You're a beautiful idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how she presents herself, like, in the first act of this movie. Like, she does not let Gene Kelly get away with anything. Like,
Right.
she knows how dumb he is.
Yeah.
Because he does these silent movies where even the dialogue when they do the talkie for the first time is just repeated shit over and over again, because every silent film has like 4 lines to it. So it's like, why don't I just do I love you, I love you, I love you? It works every time. And
Right.
It's like, well, it's a different thing when you're reading it once.
Yeah.
If you're saying it 6 times in a row, it's fucking stupid.
That was also something that I found out too, that there was a silent film star that when it went from silent film to talkies, like, he would do that kind of stuff, just do like really schmaltzy lines, and he was panned for it because, like, he didn't want to do what was written, he just wanted to do what was easy. And they took that real life aspect and put it into this movie, another metatextual concept that they dropped in here that was all like, just adds to like the fucking shit pile to like against Hollywood studios and stuff.
Yeah. There's a movie that won an Oscar called The Artist that I saw, where it's like a silent film and stuff. They totally fucking ripped off this movie.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him.
And
I
it's
was like,
nowhere near as
fucking
good as this
stop
is.
it. No, it's not.
And it's like going back and watching that, like, just thinking about that, I'm like, holy shit. How'd that win the Oscar for Best Picture? It's just based on the fact that it's just a throwback to that time.
Yeah.
And no one else did it, but it's like, it's such a lazy throwback, 'cause it's nowhere near like the work that went into this.
I told you that after it was done. I was like, I feel like there's a current movie that ripped this off.
And we said it was.
We were thinking it was that, but I was thinking
what
it
we
might have
haven't
been
seen
something
it in
else
forever,
too.
and I'm like, I know it had that.
I think
dog
there's another
in it.
movie that does.
Yeah, like the dog is like the hardest worker in that movie.
So I guess also why Gene Kelly was also a bear in this movie was because he was also fighting against MGM.
Yeah.
I have this excerpt here. I was going to read it. This movie was Gene Kelly's trump card to get out of his contract with MGM. Kelly would later talk about his roles, such as in Guys and Dolls from 55, where he had to turn down due to conflicts with his contract with the studio. This movie was not only a hit, but a mockery of MGM, which you can totally see.
Oh, I know. They do.
And then Kelly was later released from his contract. He had a poor attitude throughout the filming, but most of it was just an act so the studio would get frustrated with him and kick him out. So
he wanted this to fail? Or
I guess
wanted them
for
to
whatever reason he wanted to be
cut
out
him.
of his MGM contract.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, maybe he was getting a rough cut of the deal or something.
He had a bad relationship with the head of MGM from the get-go.
Oh, was that
because he was a Broadway star, and the head of MGM supposedly had come and talked to him backstage after a show and was like, "You're amazing, I love you, I totally want to put you in a movie." And he didn't have any plans of going into film. He wanted to stay on the stage. And then he, like, basically this executive backstage said, like, you don't even have to create a tape, you don't have to do anything, you just show up and it's good to go. And so he left New York and came to Hollywood, and all of a sudden, like, the assistant of this executive was like, we're gonna need you to cut a tape and do all this. And he got really upset, and he wrote a scathing letter to the executive saying, like, what the hell, man? Like, you told me this, but he didn't have any. I mean, it was just like verbal, so he didn't have it, but he was like cornered into this contract.
Yeah.
And so he had only planned to make one movie, and then he ended up falling in love with it. And he had said something about the creative types, like in Hollywood, and the rapport he had with other actors there, and like the crew and everything surprised him, and he ended up sticking it out. But that I read that he always had a tumultuous relationship with MGM.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or
That's
the head of MGM, or
pretty
whoever it
close
was.
to like what the story of this is pretty much
Yeah.
like. Because
Right.
it's like a guy who was a vaudeville star who is like pretty much broke and gets led into film kind of by accident because he starts out as a stuntman,
Right.
and then works up from the rankings from there. But then they also really go into a lot of like how fake Hollywood is and how like you have to kind of put on airs to still stay successful in it.
Yeah, like their fake relationship.
Yeah.
When this movie was first coming out, his role was not going to be him. It was going to be somebody else, and I don't remember who it is. But it was going to be a Western star moving on to like a big film star, like just how it was in like Hail Caesar, where they got Aaron Einreich. Right, that's his name. Right? Alden Ehrenreich.
This guy.
That was exactly like his thing. He was a Western star, went and just got cut because he was a pretty looking guy.
That's the other movie we're thinking of, because it plays off of this a lot.
Yeah. But they changed it to have him be a vaudeville star instead when Kelly took the role.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was the part that I never even remembered going back into this movie.
That fucking that fiddle scene
was so good.
Oh my god! Like I even like wrote it down on my phone that the best actors in this movie are the people that boo after that fiddle scene, because that whole sequence is so good. It's so damn
like
good.
when you see people drink champagne glasses through each other's arms, but they did that with fiddles.
They found every single possible way to have two men play the fiddle together, and it's so goddamn good.
Yeah, really
It
good.
was good. It was like watching a life of a relationship play out
But
with fiddles.
yeah, that's right. It's like the beginning of Up with fiddles.
With, well, yeah. Huh?
But that whole intro was really cool, and like
Yeah.
how him and O'Connor were buddies all growing up.
Like
Yep.
broke
Came up through,
scallywags.
and while he's telling the story, he's embellishing it, and you're seeing the real life
and that's
stories
that's what I
play
love
out.
about it, where it's like it's a lot of like the speaking in it is like the the set aside, and then the real stuff you actually see played out in front of you. Like he's talking about, like you like listen to like his dialogue, and he's like talking about coming up in a very aristocratic family, and then going to the finest acting school.
Right.
And meanwhile, you're like watching him like
going to
dance for dimes, and then go on vaudeville, go on a vaudeville tour, and then and then there's even like a scene where like there's even like a part where he slips up where he says, "We were stranded. I mean, we were we went to Hollywood to make it big."
Yeah. And offers were pouring down while he's just like
and he's like standing in the rain.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you can see like that bullshit where like you have to present yourself as like this well-known like this very successful person who became an actor, even though in real life you're just this bum who is very talented and just kind of stumbled into this life.
Right. But at the same time, like, had the talent to do so. He just was never handpicked.
Super talented.
And he just happened to catch his lucky break.
Yeah.
And I like that his buddy was always, like, drug along with him, too, and also, like, got his comeuppance, you know?
Kind of. I kind of felt badly for him, because he was just as talented. He just wasn't as good.
Well,
as
we were
he-
talking about it before you came in.
Yeah, I just love, like, I very much appreciate, like I said this before, but I very much appreciate, like, the best friend role in films. Like, like Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings. Even though I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan, but just like those, but like those characters where they go above and beyond just for somebody else. Like I love that, and that's what I feel like Cosmo is in this, where like he's willing to take that background role.
Yeah, but part of me was like, but Gene Kelly keeps like pointing him out, like I couldn't have done it without my buddy. But part of me was like, damn. But you could tell he gets a lot of side action.
But his buddy also gets...
He gets,
like,
I guess,
promoted. Like, he goes from playing the piano to being the music coordinator to being, like, a producer.
Yeah.
Like, and while...
There was a cute redhead talking to him, so...
Oh, yeah.
I guess
that dude's probably slanging tang all day, every day.
Slaying 50s tang.
I'll take another beer, Troy.
Oh, sure.
Get it on it. But yeah, I love like
slang and tang.
Since we're talking about that first part, I love the dude that goes bonkers for Zelda.
Yeah, he's really kind of creepy.
I show him once. He's like, Zelda.
We like stopped and looked at each other at the same time. Like, you saw that, right? That was creepy, even in 2018.
But even like in presenting like the red carpet couples, it's like they show how fake Hollywood is, where like the announcer is describing it one way, but it's completely different, where like Zelda's going on there with this old gross dude, and she's like, look at this fresh young couple, aren't they so wonderful?
Right.
And it's like, she's fucking him for his money.
No, she alludes to that.
Hollywood's
I thought it was
most
funny.
eligible bachelor.
When she said Hollywood's I laughed at that because it was like clear that
But
it was like
no,
a
but
fat
it's
old
like-
rich guy.
Count
It's,
Dracula.
but you're listening to the announcer present it one way, but like in reality you're seeing it where it's like it's just an old dude with a very young chick.
See, I took it as super funny because it was like right on the nose.
No,
it is
it is funny. It is funny.
It's ironic,
but it's
yeah.
like they're not like lying to you. Like they're just twisting the
She
truth.
also says it like right at them. Like she's not even like a side commentator. She's literally in the middle of the red carpet.
Yeah.
And they walk up and she's like, and this eligible bachelor. And he's clearly like 85
he's
years old.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
like he's limping up the fucking
she's like
red carpet.
Pre-Joan Rivers is what she is.
So let's talk about some of the songs here. Because like the songs are written for this first, or the songs were gathered first.
Yeah, there are two. There's only two original songs in this.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Chelsea, which ones do you think are the original ones?
Not Singing in the Rain.
No.
Singin' in the Rain was actually used in 6 different films before this.
I figured that when she was on stage and the whatever. The girl one where it's like the stripper gram girls.
No, that one's
Crap.
I wrote down what they were.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember it too. It's
that long ass musical
Supposes.
cut.
Yeah, Moses Supposes and Make 'Em Laugh.
Yeah, those are the only original songs for the.
Moses.
I was losing my shit on Moses Supposes.
Moses Supposes I thought was really good. I thought it was
that dialect coach they put through the fucking ringer
for no reason.
and it is so good.
They really give him the
But
business.
but it's an amazing. That's just another reason why I love Cosmo in this. Is like there's like a bunch of scenes like that and Make 'Em Laugh are scenes where like Don Lockwood is just like kind of going through hell, where he's like trying to do this shit, and then Cosmo
He's like making faces.
yeah, and then Cosmo moves in and tries to make it fun for him, or tries to like kind of liven the mood for him.
Yeah.
And that's why I love Cosmo in this. He's just like
I feel like it's you and Troy. The more you go on about loving being a best friend, it's like an ode to your relationship. Can I just point that out? I'm just going to say it.
to be honest, I actually see this movie as like the three of ours relationship.
Oh,
Right?
there we have it.
You've never said it. That should have been your best man speech.
Just go see Sing in the Rain. You can see our
Yeah.
whole story.
Yes.
Period.
No, I
Drink
want
up.
you should have interpretive danced
Sing
it
in the
out.
rain, peace.
Cutest thing he's ever said. And it's on record.
It's hard to read my notes because Macy scribbled all over them.
Just good. Cute scribbles though.
But yeah, no, I just love Cosmo in this because he always
really
moves in and he
talented.
always livens. Like if Don Lockwood's down, he livens the mood. And then if Don Lockwood has no ideas and he moves in and gives him ideas and is not bitching about whether or not he gets credit for it or not. Like I love that shit.
And just while we're staying on Moses Poses and Make 'Em Laugh, even though it was in quote an original song, some guy came in during the making of that song saying that sounds awfully familiar. And here is a song called Be a Clown.
Yeah. Well,
They stole the song.
fuck that guy.
They never got sued for plagiarism. But that's
Yeah.
Be a Clown right there. Very similar to Make 'Em Laugh. I think this says it's from the Singin' in the Rain original cast recording. So I wonder if they just switched that out for
Maybe.
Make 'Em Laugh.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, because Be a Clown would be a weird song for that
Yeah.
that scene. But yeah, I love Make 'Em Laugh where
Yeah, I don't even I guess this might have been the stage show, but I don't even see Make
and did
'Em
you read the
Laugh.
facts for Make 'Em Laugh? Because Make 'Em Laugh sounds like a fucked up
just
situation.
the dance number?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read some of that
So,
stuff. Go ahead.
Donald O'Connor did the entire scene for Make 'Em Laugh, and it's if you watch it, it's fucked up. Where when he did it, he was in the hospital for a week from exhaustion and severe rug burns. And then after he got out of the hospital, he came back, and Gene Kelly was like, "That was amazing. We need you to do it again because the camera wasn't working." So he did it again.
I feel like that would happen to you. Like as you're saying that, I'm like, I want to be like, I'm sorry, Joel.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he did this whole bit twice.
Hope they paid his medical bills.
In the 50s, you kidding? They probably didn't have medical bills at the time.
Kidding me, bruh?
50s was the golden era, you know what I mean? Baby boomers or whatever. Whoa, easy Google, I'm not talking to you. Chill out over there.
I turned off that. Yeah, that's right.
Shut the fuck up.
Now show you dominance.
There's still on the musical numbers, Singin' in the Rain. This is a very popular fact, but I'm going to say it nonetheless. Gene Kelly did it while he was incredibly sick. Rumor has it they had 101 or 103 degree fever.
Yeah, he had 110 fever before he did Sing in the
110,
Rain.
he'd be dead.
Okay.
Yeah, do you know
I thought it was.
temperatures?
Hold
I
on.
mean, not to brag.
I read the
and
fact,
all,
and they
but
said that they calculated him at 110 fever before he did Sing in the Rain.
he would be like in a coma.
It had
Let
to
me
be at
see.
least 101.
103 is
Maybe
what I read.
101 then.
I read 103.
Well, at most 103, at least 101.
At craziest 110.
110, his brain would be boiling in his skull. That's not true.
Like a soupy gray mess.
soupy gray matter.
Soupy Gramus.
But anyway, Singin' in the Rain, he did while doing very ill.
Yeah.
And he didn't really wasn't feeling up to it, but he's like, I'll do one take.
And that's the take that
And
they
that's
have
the
in the
take they have in the movie.
Yep.
They only had it blocked out at the beginning of the alley and at the end of the alley. And so they just filmed it with 2 cameras instead of actually like planning it out and to film it differently.
Yep.
And he just did through it, ad-libbed the dances, and that's the take that you see in the movie.
Pretty much.
Damn.
And the coat that he wore was wool, so it absorbed all the fucking water that hit it. So it's like that coat probably weighed like 50 pounds.
Granted, like it's not the most
sick.
active dance number in the whole thing. It's a good dance number, but
It is,
it's not make them laugh or anything like that.
No.
But it is really really good.
And
it's
Great.
like
It's the most iconic scene.
it is. It's the namesake.
And
of
they
the
even
whole
tried to
movie.
film the scene at night one time, but they couldn't because people were using their water, so they didn't have enough water pressure. So they had to wait for very early in the morning to film it.
Yeah.
Because that was the only time they could get enough water pressure to actually have all the rain come out.
Right. And then they had to block off like 2 blocks of something and darken it so it looked like night. Like, because they didn't have the capability to just do it like in post. So they they blocked off with high walls.
So what you're saying is they blocked out the sun.
Essentially,
The whole sun.
in Hollywood, they have an
Eclipse.
unlimited budget with $2.5 million. That was the budget of the film.
Back then, though, that
No
was probably a
shit.
ton of money.
And this movie did go over budget. And
Jesus.
because of only
Because of all
one
that
dance
rain.
number, can you guess which one it is?
Was it the Broadway one?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate
the
that
one
one.
that I
I
hate
for-
the most.
I forgot this because this movie is crazy because out of nowhere they're just like, let's present a completely different thing that doesn't involve this movie at all, and it goes on for like 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They needed
And
to
it's
build
This
crazy.
whole Broadway ballet sequence took like probably 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just Gene Kelly
It's-
explaining what the end of the movie should be.
No, he's explaining what the beginning should be.
Oh, whatever
'cause
it
he
is.
says like, we're filming this new dance scene, and it's about where this kid comes into New York, and he's like saying that this is like the opening of the Singing Cavalier.
Yeah. And it is also like a meta thing where it's kind of also like Gene Kelly's like character in Singin' in the Rain. Like
Yeah.
it kind of takes like a
And
lowly
her,
guy.
I took it as her 'cause she was the one
well,
who's like
it's kind of
she
both
wanted
their
to go to
journeys.
Broadway. Yeah.
It's both their journeys really. It's like they came from nothing, they go into like the big city
Yeah.
and try to make it, and then they finally get there and they.
But
make
like
be a
I
big
like
star
how
or
he's doing
whatever.
it because like they present it where it's like he's going back to his roots, where they present like where he is at that point as like he's just complete. What's so funny?
I'm really tired, and I was thinking when you said going back to his roots, all I could think of was the show Roots.
Jesus.
Not,
The slave show?
and I'm like, that's not right. My brain is misfiring. But I started laughing, and I don't know.
But no, they present it where like when the movie first opens, like he's, even though he is accepting the fact that like he came from nothing, he's still kind of all up in like the Hollywood glamour.
Mm-hmm.
When like he first sees Debbie Reynolds and she's like, "Oh, that's not really talent," and he's like, "What? What do you mean?
And then his
I'm really
buddy-
talented. Everyone tells me I'm talented every day."
His buddy confirmed it.
Yeah,
His buddy confirmed it by accidentally saying the exact same thing.
yeah,
Seen one, you've seen them all.
exactly.
Yeah.
But no, so they present it where like he thinks he's the best performer in the world, and yet he's kind of seemed where like he's almost kind of in a rut and he never really realized it. And now when he's describing what he wants the beginning of the Singing Cavalier to be, he is embracing the fact that he did come from nothing made him a better performer than if he were to just come into movies altogether. Because he's embracing like vaudeville and everything, and like how about, and like they even get to that point where it's like all the dancing numbers that he does throughout the country are the same thing with different costumes, which is pretty much what movies are.
Yeah. I didn't like that part of the film. Like,
I didn't either.
it took a long time to get through, and I'm like, is he still just saying that this is like what the beginning of the movie should be? Like, it's a big waste of time. If they ended that sequence with the big production head studio being like, I don't like that, scrap it. Maybe I would like it more because it went through this whole thing for a big long con to be like, nah, don't like it.
But I do still like how they ended it, though, where he was like,
Gotta see it
sounds
on film."
good, but I gotta see it. Where it's like, we watched everything that was going on in his head, and he was like, okay, I don't know what it is, though, but I think I like it.
Yeah, I'll see it on film. And then I was like, you're going to film all that shit?
Oh my god, RF is the biggest fucking doofus.
I
love
like
it.
him a lot,
I
though.
love RF in this so much.
But more on that Broadway ballet. It took an extra $600,000 to film that.
Yeah.
Which ended up being a fifth of the budget just for that one dance number.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean,
of the whole movie.
I will give it to you that it is pretty much useless to compare to the rest of the film, but I did kind of like it.
It was amazing. Like, it was a big vehicle for the talent of Gene Kelly.
and
That's what
it presents itself in a way different way than the rest of the movie did, so you can totally see it, like, because at this point he realizes his love is the stage, and that whole Broadway ballet presents itself as like a stage performance. Like, everything looks like a set. And that's what I really like about it. Like, even down to the conveyor belt where he's walking down the streets of New York. Like, that's just conveyor belts. That's just like conveyor belts where people are just kind of like standing, like looking at things, and he's walking in place.
Yeah.
Then he's walking on a treadmill, and there's people going by him. Like, I really like that. And it's like creative ways of showing this guy coming from nothing to something to realizing that being something is really nothing. And then embracing what he was before. It's pretty much the entire story of Singin' in the Rain, but in a 15-minute segment that looks like it's all taking place on a stage.
Yeah. At the same time,
That's
though,
some
I don't
deep
need to
shit.
watch Singin' in the Rain twice.
That is some deep shit.
But this
over
is like
there.
Singin' in the Rain, but presented in a different way. Like,
Yeah.
there was like that.
But I'm
fucking,
already watching Singin' in the Rain.
But that fucking
movie in a movie.
They're already doing a movie in a movie. They don't need to do a movie in a movie in a movie.
Movie.
that fucking scarf scene is badass.
It
though.
is awesome.
Oh
that
my
was
god!
They're like visually, that whole scene is amazing. It's
The way they cut it
super
too.
poppy in color. That ballet scene with the scarf is awesome.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to be in the movie. Like, it just adds to its runtime.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does add to its runtime, but and it does feel out of place, but I liked it. Like, that's just all I can really say. Like, I can see all your arguments where it's like it's pointless, it doesn't need to be in here. It just feels like they're adding on time, but I really liked it.
Both me and Chelsea also agreed that there's another dance or a dance and song sequence in this that we're like, why is this in here?
Beautiful girl?
Beautiful girl! Like, I thought it was funny.
They do like this weird like
That was
Vogue like
creepy.
model scene where they're
And the
going through where
lyrics?
it's like tennis anyone.
No, but that was weird. But the lyrics, he was talking about how she's 16.
Oh
the
yeah, there's like
very end.
there's like one where it's like, and you're over, sweet 16.
I thought it said over, and he was like, no, I think it said she is 16. So we were like arguing about it.
Yeah. But no, I remember
Creepy.
watching this with Molly, and then she was like, I would hate this number, but I love all this fashion.
Yeah.
So
But
she
I was
just
sitting there
going-
like,
even
what
that
is
one,
the
it's like,
point of this fashion?
Jacket lined with monkey fur. And I'm like, that is gross.
He actually said that out loud to me.
Also, before Make 'em Laugh, there is a very, very offensive blackface scene where they show people that are in Africa wearing
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're
skin
right.
tight black bodysuits, wearing
remember
like
seeing
African
it.
garb.
It's not like a minstrel kind of show where they have like the
Okay.
blackface
Yeah.
and the big pink.
No, it's like
things.
a scene that's supposed to take place in Africa, and it's white guys wearing full skin tight black bodysuits,
God,
wearing
I didn't even
African
notice
garb,
it.
Yeah.
That's
and it's
awful.
like Jesus.
I noticed it. They didn't really like
they don't point it out, but it's
point it
going
out
on in the
or
background.
make a lot of attention to it, but it's when they're like walking through the sound studio.
Oh.
and
Yeah.
there's like different.
right before Make 'Em Laugh.
I
They're
remember
kind of
seeing an
walking
African
through.
mask or something, but I was not paying attention to the whole screen.
Yeah,
so
they're like
I
walking
missed it.
through, and like they're showing all the sets in the background, which are really, really cool and well put together.
Mm-hmm.
But like the initial one is just people standing around in like skin tight black bodysuits wearing African garb. Where I'm like,
Uh-oh, troublesome.
woof.
Let me see if I got any more things here in my notes. What were your some of your favorite numbers in this besides like Broadway ballet that you're just going on about forever? Just kidding.
You're going on a Broadway ballet forever. I like Broadway ballet, but it's not like my favorite. I think my favorite is Make 'Em Laugh and Moses Supposes. And I just love how the three of them interact with each other in Good Morning.
Yeah, I like.
I think those are probably
too.
my three favorites.
I like Moses Opposes, Make 'Em Laugh. I liked Good Morning. I remember it this time, and actually, my mom, like every once in a while, would sing that to us when we'd be waking up in the morning because she's like a big musical nut. And so, like, I remember her just going, good morning, and like that's what stuck in my head. And I'm like, oh, this is where it comes from. I also like Singing in the Rain. That's good.
Yeah, Sing in the Rain is just iconic.
Yeah. But those are it. Those are the ones that stand out for me too, I think. But I also like the opening number with the violins and stuff too.
Oh, it's so good.
So like, I mean, Gene Kelly is killing it. Like I was watching his feet, just like astounded.
He's
at
a
know.
stud muffin.
It makes you want to learn tap dancing.
Yeah, kind of. But then at the same time, I don't want to like break my ankles or anything like
he
that.
is
either.
like a stud.
Yeah, he
Like,
is
in comparison
so
to a lot of
handsome.
leading men now, I feel like he's like, well, back then they used to be like a triple threat. They could sing, act,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
brought
and
that
dance.
Up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like he was like a more burly dancer. Like he still is like a man's man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he always is. I was reading about
There's
that
so
too.
many scenes where they just zoom in on his face and he just looks into your soul where you're like, oh my god, am I gay?
Damn it. I was even looking at him like, damn, Gene Kelly, damn.
I wanted to know like how old he was in this, so I looked it up. He was 40
and
when
Debbie
this was
Reynolds
made.
was 19.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Well,
But everybody, like, it was hard to
at
gauge.
least she's over, sweet 16.
Oh,
It's hard
God.
to gauge because, like, everyone back then, I think, always looks older than what they were.
Yeah.
Like, anybody now that's, like, 20, I'd be like, you're obviously 20. But, like,
Yeah.
they could be 20 and look 50 back then and be like, that's just how you look. That's what the world does to you in 1940
They also wore a
and 50.
lot of makeup in those films, though, too. Even the men.
Yeah.
They had different film makeup, so
Yeah.
that probably adds to it.
Some of the meta stuff in this as well is like obviously they're taking it to MGM as them being they're actually making this Singing in the Rain movie, but like in what was Monumental Pictures was the studio in this, and
Yeah.
they're just taking jabs at movie studios in this a little bit.
Yeah.
The whole silent film to talkie industry, they take real life things that happened and put them in this film. Even the screenwriters, I found out, bought a home from a previous silent film star who lost all of his wealth when the talkies came into town.
Yeah.
Like, it's all wrapped up in that old Hollywood type shit.
I'm kind of curious if there were like talkie films made with how bad the Dueling Cavalier was.
I
almost
have
kind of
to say
want
there are.
Yeah, and I want to see them.
Like the
Like,
early talkies, and
Yeah.
just being like how
Like,
bad they are.
with like the pearls hitting up against the microphone.
I loved that.
And
Yeah,
just,
that was really
hilarious.
good. That whole thing was,
When
I
he
thought,
drops
really
the
well done.
stick and then comes down to
yeah,
her,
when he
like,
throws the stick and it sounds like a gun went off.
oh my God. Those pearls, though. Those pearls, I felt like that is like a relevant effect to like now.
Yeah.
Like it felt current.
I just liked all that subtle comedy in this because I think all the
That was
comedy
really
in this,
good.
you were saying that it holds up,
It
and
does.
I'm
Even
like,
the
I think it does.
Just
I
the
think it's like
dialogue is so good because it's just like people giving small jabs here and there. There's one that really hit me where Gene Kelly's looking for Debbie Reynolds, and he runs into one of the dancers that she was dancing with, and it's like it was like something where it's
she's
like
talking about how
can
she
you
bolted. And...
Yeah, you can show me a thing or two, and it's like I've got no time for that, or something where it's like, or like can I show you a thing or two? And he's like, no, I have no time for that. Where it's like he's like insinuating that like he doesn't have time to see if she knows that something.
No, she wanted to like do him.
Oh yeah.
Okay, just making sure you
No,
knew
no,
that.
no, no. I get that, but it's like she's presenting it as a way where it's like I want to bang you, and he's presenting it where it's like I don't have enough time to see if you, I don't have enough time to see if you know something.
I actually like disagree with you. I thought when she said in the car that when she was acting like she had never seen his movies, I thought that made her feel very modern.
No, I love all that. I love where she's kind of like brushing him off and being like, "Oh yeah, I've never watched movies. I'm more into theater," and that like drives him insane. I love that. But then when she revisits him and then she gives herself away, where it's like I've actually seen all your movies.
See, I didn't hate it though.
And stuff.
I get what you're saying, but I didn't hate that. I actually felt like it felt like a modern, like something modern. Like I could see myself saying that, being like, "I'm cool."
Yeah.
You're with somebody who's like super famous and is trying to impress you, and you're like, "No, I'm just gonna hold my own and act like I don't know your stuff because you think you're awesome."
Yeah.
Which he was being pretty smug.
Yeah. No,
and he was like
I get
all
that.
over, had his arm around her as she's driving him, and she's just like, "Yeah, no, once you've seen them all, or seen one, you've seen them all." And I'm like, good for you for holding your own. I thought that was actually pretty awesome.
But I know, I get
that. And
that.
then later, she has feelings for him, and she like admits, like, "Yeah, I've seen your movies. Like, you were just being a dick."
No, I get that.
And I was playing hard to get.
I get that, but I would have liked it more if she wasn't playing hard to get and she actually did not give a shit about him.
Okay, classic JT.
No, but I would have, because it's like
okay,
the fact that like
he's just crying into a can of tuna.
But
the
but the fact that
apartment.
she does admit that she saw all of his movies means that she was pining for him. I would have liked it a lot more if it like completely off the bat she legit did not give a shit about him, and that he does depend on her to really get his career going, as opposed to like her kind of like pining over him, and then
I get it. I'm just saying, I thought it felt
no, I still think she's a pretty strong character for that time, though. Like they do a lot more with her than I thought they would, given the time.
Yeah. Because he really fights to make sure that her name is on there and things like that, and then when that
and she does a lot.
Actress is trying to screw over, he like plots a way to embarrass that actress, regardless of contract or anything.
And she does a lot to help him too. She's the one that comes up with making the Dueling Cavalera musical.
Says it in front of everybody, like, "This is the voice. This is the person you love."
Yeah.
So, I think he like gives her credit.
Yeah.
Man, delish.
You know, did I delete
Did you
it?
fart?
No. There. Oh, okay. So I did take a screenshot of this. So what was funny is that in the movie, Jean Hagen has that shrill voice, and she's dubbed over by Debbie Reynolds. But in actuality, while Jean Hagen was being, quote, dubbed over, she was just using her normal voice.
Yeah.
And technically, Debbie Reynolds was lip syncing with Jean Hagen's voice.
Yeah.
And so that was a fun little thing. And then when Jean Hagen's character was supposed to be singing and Debbie Reynolds was singing for her, that was another actress's voice.
Yeah.
That was then dubbed in that everybody else was lip syncing over, which was also fun to listen to. An inception of dubbing.
Dubbing Inception.
That was... But they also... I liked the fact that they did that in the filming of this, also in making of the movie in this, too. Another meta concept.
Guys, play a drinking game with how many times meta is said.
But this movie is meta.
Yeah.
It is.
I get it. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Like,
get your booze out.
It does
re-listen
present
to this,
itself
get drunk.
as a movie that's trying to pull back the curtain and being like, this is how full of shit Hollywood is. Mm-hmm. And like, because I remember watching this where I'm like, this person does not like movies. like watching this, where it's like you can see like they do so many things to just show how clueless people in the movie industry are. Even RF is such a clueless klotz in this. Like, there's like so many things. Like there's like, there's small lines that RF delivers where it's like so fucking funny. Where it's like there's like one where they talk about like how Lena's not gonna like this, and he's like, "Well, I don't care what Lena thinks. I'm the head of the studio. Just make sure she doesn't know." like even though like he tries to like fucking buck up about like how powerful he is, he still kind of cowers when he thinks about how the actors are gonna take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he totally is awesome and pulls that rope. That scene where the three men pull the rope for the curtain.
When he sings
great.
horribly to sing in the rain.
No, I just like when they pull up the curtain.
Yeah,
all three of them, because they were real into it.
Mm-hmm.
We both laughed like, look at that.
Yeah. Really good stuff all around. Anything else you guys want to bring up about the movie?
Oh
Anything
man,
else? Because I went through all of my notes. I've done it.
yeah,
Got through them all.
Yeah, I'm good.
I think I'm through it.
Good. I'm glad.
I'm great, guys.
You're great.
I'm done. I'm really tired. I've been up since 3 a.m. 3:15.
Yeah.
You had a nice nap in the middle.
I had a nice nap in the middle, but I was up at 2:30, so in your face.
I have had 0 naps.
I've slept pretty good. I have a pretty good regular sleeping schedule. Everybody,
I hope your dog keeps you up all night. I hope both dogs keep you up now.
it's pretty good. Bucket is adjusted to my sleeping schedule.
Well, that's good.
How about it?
Wait till you have a kid, man. I'm gonna rub in your face.
Good.
I'm gonna rub your face in it, like
Rub your face in your
Like-
Rub your
he-
face in my kid.
yeah. I'm gonna rub your face in your kid. Like all weird.
So this movie isn't streaming free anywhere, but you can find it on Amazon Prime.
Pretty
yeah.
cheap.
But with that, would you guys recommend people to go out and rent this movie?
Yeah, duh.
Absolutely. This is probably one of my
Get
favorite
cultured,
movies.
peeps.
I would recommend purchasing this movie.
It's actually
yeah.
on our baby daughter's Christmas list this year on Amazon.
I think it's one of... I'm going to put it up there, one of the best movies ever made, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
No, it's up there as one of my favorite movies ever.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So, like, maybe that spoils the grade a little bit.
Oh, F.
But what would you grade this movie, since we didn't really go into spoilers? Well, we did go into full spoilers of the movie.
Yeah, it's fully spoiled.
But what would you guys grade it?
Oh, I'll give it an A+, including Broadway ballet, you fucks.
Oh,
Okay, leave me out of the fucks that you just sent out.
No,
I know.
But no, I love it all the way through, even with my
Even though she plays
critiques.
hard to get.
Even with my critiques on Debbie Reynolds' character in this, I still think for the time it's pretty forward thinking.
Yeah.
To make her such a big part of his success. I love it all the way through. Like the dancing numbers are so hard and well choreographed, and the Good Morning, they seem like a fucking well-oiled machine with this. It's like three people sharing the same mind almost at certain points. Like they move together in such synchronization. It's insane. I don't think a movie like this could ever possibly be made today.
No.
I don't think
'Cause
so.
then-
I kept thinking that too. I was like, I just can't see people
Like
today
even
being able to
even if
do
you
it
found
like
people
that.
with this skill, like you would have a studio executive being like, they don't have a name to be themselves, it won't make any money, fuck it, we're not gonna make it. But it's like you get Gene Kelly, Debbie Reynolds, and
that guy,
Donald O'Hare, or
Donald O'Connor.
Donald O'Connor.
Donnie Boy.
The three of them work together in such a way, and probably under the strict tutelage of Gene Kelly, to the point where it's just
I was thinking
so
it would
well
have been
done.
probably grueling, the
Yeah.
practices, and they didn't have YouTube to be able to teach themselves, so they went through years of like probably professional classes
There's just
too.
Not
especially
Debbie Reynolds. She just got pushed into it and was just like, you better learn this right quick.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But like, especially coming off of like Mission Impossible, where we praise it so much, for like the practical effects, and now we're going onto this where all of it is practical dancing and tap dancing and singing. It's just
In the rain.
yeah.
Of all things.
You like, especially getting to this point, I'm appreciating so much just like the raw talent people have to actually present themselves and actually present stunts that they're doing. That's not computer generated, and I fucking love that shit. This is a fucking A+.
Not just an A+. A fucking A+.
Exactly.
That's a high level
Highest level you can ever give.
for Joel.
I am going to give this movie an A because I do feel like that Broadway number at the end bloats the film. It did take me out of it, and I'm like, where is this going? Even though they follow it up, like, it's like 15 minutes long.
It is very long.
Like, it's unnecessary.
I may have gotten up for a drink at that point.
I feel like the only reason it's in the movie is for Gene Kelly's vanity.
But I liked it.
But at the same time, it's a great number, but it doesn't need to be in the movie.
Even the random Scarface mob boss that's just flipping his coin?
Yeah, who cares? But an A is a high enough praise. Like, it's like a perfect movie besides that for me. Chelsea, what would you grade it?
An A.
There you go. Any...
That's it.
All right, fair enough.
Short and sweet, peeps. Watch it.
All right, just tone it down.
Can't contain this.
Apparently I cannot. Hey, thanks for listening. If you want to join us on social media, do so at ReviewReviewPod on Twitter. If you happen to be a Facebooker, do that ReviewReviewPod on Facebook. You can find us at our host site at reviewreviewpod.podbean.com, but you don't have to listen to just there. We are also on a multitude of platforms such as Google Podcasts, Alexa devices, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. If you happen to be an Apple user, rate and review us there, because if you like the show, that helps other people find the show as well. If you want to write in, do so at reviewreviewpod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening again. We'll see you next time.
And we're off.